Let's take a trip back in time, to the misty mountains and deep forests of 19th century Bavaria. In a land of castles, myths, and royal drama lived one of history's most fascinating and puzzling figures, King Ludwig II of Bavaria. Now, history remembers him with a curious nickname, the Mad King. But was he really mad, or just a dreamer, born into the wrong century? Let's find out. Ludwig was just 18 years old when he became king in 1864. Barely a man, suddenly thrust into a world of politics, power plays, and royal duties. He was tall, handsome, mysterious, and painfully shy. He wasn't really into war councils or government reforms. Instead, he was obsessed with art, myths, and legends. While other kings worried about borders and battles, Ludwig was more concerned with building fairy tale castles and staging operas in candlelit halls. Not exactly your typical monarch. Enter Richard Wagner, the famous, wildly controversial composer. Ludwig idolized him. I mean, truly idolized. To Ludwig, Wagner's music was pure magic, like something from the gods. And when he became king, he bankrolled Wagner's extravagant lifestyle and funded his operas. But Ludwig didn't stop there. He started building castles. Not one, not two, but multiple elaborate, wildly expensive, dreamlike palaces. The most famous of all? Neuschwanstein Castle, that dreamy, white-towered masterpiece that Disney would later use as inspiration for Sleeping Beauty's castle. But here's the kicker. These castles weren't built for royal events or state matters. Ludwig didn't even throw big parties in them. They were private sanctuaries. He built them for himself, to escape the real world. He lived alone in his fantasy palaces, dining at tables that rose through the floor so he wouldn't have to see servants. He once even ordered a winter garden to be built on the roof of his palace so he could walk through nature without leaving the building. But all this beauty came with a price, a big one. Ludwig's projects bankrupted the kingdom. The Bavarian ministers were freaking out. They pleaded with him to stop, but Ludwig just kept building, dreaming and isolating himself further. He stopped attending meetings, avoided people, wrote long, poetic letters to Wagner and scribbled in journals about imaginary kingdoms. By 1886, things reached a boiling point. A group of doctors, none of whom had even examined Ludwig in person, signed a document declaring him insane. The government had had enough. They used this diagnosis to depose him. Ludwig was taken to a remote palace, his own, under guard. Just 3 days later, he went for a walk with one of the doctors who signed the declaration. Hours passed. Neither returned. They were found dead, floating in the shallow waters of Lake Starnberg. The King's watch had stopped at 6:54 p.m. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened. Murder? Suicide? Conspiracy? We'll never know. Ludwig died in disgrace, called a madman, a failure, a king who bankrupted his nation chasing fairy tales. But here's the twist. Today, Neuschwanstein Castle is one of the most visited sites in Europe. It's helped generate millions in tourism. People come from all over the world to see the dream Ludwig built. And maybe he wasn't mad at all. Maybe he was just an artist, a visionary, born in the wrong role, in the wrong time. A man who didn't want power, he wanted beauty, music, magic. He gave us fairy tales in stone. So next time someone calls him Mad King Ludwig, remember, maybe madness isn't building castles in the sky. It's forgetting to dream at all,